You mentioned the collapse of the Soviet Union. Lessons to be learned today by watching that happen, especially from those that are on the left.
Oh, but the left have learned. The clever left learned an awful lot from the Soviet Union. Right back in the 1920s, Antonio Gramsci, the great Italian communist, understood that the Soviet system would never work in Western Europe or in an advanced country, and devised the revised form of communism, the capture of the culture, the capture of the school, the television studio, the university, the newspaper, the publishing firm, the capture of the whole mass of what people actually think and say as being the preliminary before the political and economic change. And that became Eurocommunism, and which was at its strongest in Italy, Gramsci's country. And a lot of the Trotskyism that I was involved in was beginning to grope towards this, because we could see that the Soviet Union wouldn't work. We were ashamed and appalled by what had happened in Czechoslovakia in 1968. You didn't have to be a conservative to disapprove of the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia. It was easy to see that it was wrong and stupid, and these uninspiring, heavy-footed men standing on top of Lenin's tomb in Red Square were not our idea of the future. And so all that was changing. And when the Soviet Union collapsed and the Berlin Wall fell, revolutionary Marxism was liberated. It wasn't defeated. It no longer had this great albatross of Leonid Brezhnev hanging around its neck, nor was it the ally of the great enemy in the Cold War. It was free, and it's been free ever since. And the idea that the left didn't learn from the Soviet Union is wrong. They learned a lot from it, and a lot of them were, I think, pretty pleased to see it go. And they have been engaged in huge advances in radicalism since then. I remember the original communism was really the heir and inheritor of the French Revolution. It was much more a matter of political and moral and religious, anti-religious radicalism than it was a matter of nationalizing the nuts and bolts industry and setting up the KGB. And that's what it's returned to. This is why the ferment of atheism has become so strong. You can be an atheist without being a revolutionary, but you can't be a revolutionary without being an atheist.
Mm-hmm. Will we see a Marxist government come back?
Well, it won't be called that. I mean, in my view, this country had a Euro-communist government under Blair from 1997. His cabinet was full of people who were Trotskyists and ex-communists, none of whom had ever, as far as I can see, ever particularly recanted their revolutionary ideas. They just honed them to fit into the modern world.